imported our piece of vector graphics, vector shape, into After Effects. Question is, how do we move it? We've looked previously in one of the other videos, the first video in this series, how to keyframe things so that it can move in straight lines, so from here over to here or whatever. But what happens if we want to actually move the shape in a somewhat more organic or more varied or continuous kind of path? It's not really possible to easily do that just using the straightforward keyframe animation that we looked at previously. But happily, there is a pretty straightforward technique to make a shape such as this vector one that we have here kind of race around the screen. And that's to literally draw a path for it to follow, which means just a vector shape. And we can place that into the position property for the object and have it animate along. Okay, so let's have a look at that. So if we come back over to Adobe Illustrator, I've got my shape here. I'm just going to make a new file though. I'm just going to go to File, New in Adobe Illustrator. And again, I'm going to go with this preset, the Web Large preset. So that gives us the right dimensions or the right proportions, perhaps more importantly, for what we're doing. And I like to use this preset because having those proportions allows me to judge, how my composition is going to look in the final sort of video a bit better. So I'm going to, in this instance, I'm just going to use the pen tool. And as we've looked at earlier in the semester, you can make a path here just by using a combination of clicking to get a single point, which maybe you could use as an angular point, or clicking and dragging with the left mouse button or the trackpad if you're using a laptop. So clicking and dragging pulls out these curve handles from each anchor point. I'm just going to sort of wander around, just sort of gradually draw out some sort of interesting path for my blob to follow. It's an organic shape. It seems appropriate that I would make it sort of follow some sort of blob-like kind of path, something like this. Now the way it's going to, my object is going to follow this path is that it's going to go from the first point I draw up to the last point. So I'm actually just going to end down here in the lower right. That'll do. Now, unlike when I'm drawing a completed shape, I don't want to come back to my first point probably, unless I'm wanting to close that path for some reason. I don't want to normally close this. I want to just sort of come to the end point there. So I just get a winding line going from point A over to point B down here. So a few different ways you can do this. My preferred way is just to hit the escape key, which you can find in the top left-hand side of your keyboard. Okay, so that gives us that shape. Now, I do want to select the entire shape. Okay, so I'm going to just get the selection tool here. And I will, so I'm just going to, I will save this. Let's just save this. So I'll call it something meaningful, that motion path blob, something which I can easily identify. And again, saving it into my assets folder here. Click on save. All right. So this is just, my purpose in saving this here is in case I want to come back and edit it and reuse it in some way. But what I'm actually going to do to get this into After Effects is not to go through the file import process that we've looked at previously. Instead, I'm going to copy it. So I'm going to go to the edit menu, choose copy, or this is what I really do, hit Command C or Control C on Windows. All right, so let's come back to After Effects down here. So I want to look at this. This is the layer here for the shape I want to move. I might just shrink it down a little bit Just make it a little bit smaller in relation to the screen because I wanted to sort of whiz around something like this. Okay, so I'm going to come down here, open up those layer properties, that little disclosure triangle there, that little chevron shape, come to the transform properties here, come down to position, because that's actually, after all, what we're animating. So just as when we were doing the keyframe by keyframe animation, that sort of tweening, we're going to click on this little stopwatch icon here, just to get that going. So that, see, that still sets a keyframe over here at the point in time where I have that current time indicator there, that blue sort of line there with that sort of triangular, rough, almost triangular shape there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit paste. I'm going to paste into that keyframe. So I can come up to the edit menu and choose paste, or of course I can hit Command V. Okay. So you can see that this has indeed created a set of keyframes here. I'm just going to zoom in on our little animation here. And just using this little thing. And you can see that what it's done here is that it's given me a whole bunch of keyframes. And these little round ones here in the middle, these represent the keyframes along that path. Okay. And you can see that these are anchor points. This is a vector. And these are editable in After Effects as well. You can either grab the whole path, or you can click on an individual keyframe, move it around or adjust its Bezier handles there, and so on. Okay. Or indeed, you can grab the end. You can retime it as well. You can grab the endpoint and stretch that out as well. Okay. So increasing the range of time that comes over. Now, if I come over here to the preview pane and press play, or hitting the spacebar, this will also tell it to play. See it moving around there, following that path. So that seems pretty nice. Now, let's say I want to slow down the whole thing even more. I just drag that handle out even further, and that'll slow down the rate at which it moves along that path, and so on. Okay, and indeed I can grab these individual keyframes, the ones along the path, and change their timing as well. So maybe I wanted to speed up in some parts. Let's say I wanted to speed up around this sort of section here. Okay, you'll see it correspondingly slow down over here and then suddenly speed up, and so on. So you can vary the rate at which your object follows the motion path. Okay, so that's really all there is to it. It's pretty straightforward. Countless other adjustments, and of course it does not preclude you from doing other forms of animation as well, such as rotation, opacity, scale, and so on.